Hi, this is Wishop, and this is a video in response to a question that I got on the February 14th Pick a Card Love Lotteria reading by Jon Sebag. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Anyway, thank you very much for your comment and your question, which was, how do you do yes and no card readings with the karma cards? I guess Jon had seen me use them in a previous reading and so wondered. There are instructions in here, but he was finding them a little confusing, and I confess that I did too. And so I'm going to suggest another, I guess, a little variation on the method that I think will be easier. Okay, so the first thing to know about the karma cards is that they're based on astrological systems. They have the planets. You can see here the planets. You have some cards that have the signs and some cards that have the houses. And then, each one will have, descriptions on the back. So the deal is this method I'm going to suggest will work with any astrologically based system, if you choose to use it, if you like it. So the one thing I'm going to show you first is that Monty Farber, who designed these cards, and they're very nice, and I should give the artist credit. Linda Garland was the artist. You'll see I've written in some notes here. Monty Farber put in the outer planets in rulership of three of the signs, or three of the houses rather, and then left out any rulership on house 2 and house 6. So what I'm going to suggest is, and for those of you who are sort of familiar with astrology, this will be easy to understand. And I'm assuming Jon is, if he's been using these cards now. Use the 7 classical planet attributions that go with each of the houses. And then you can use these outer planet additions to kind of flesh out the meaning if you want. And I'll show you how that works. But basically the idea is the first house, Aries, is classically ruled by Mars. Mars also classically rules Scorpio. So where he's got Pluto, I just put that in parentheses. You can think about how Pluto also rules Scorpio, but think about it as being ruled by Mars. Because in this, in the classical system, each of the planets has 2 signs it rules, and the sun and the moon each have 1. So here's the sun ruling Leo, here's the moon ruling Cancer, and then each of the other planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, each get 2 of the houses and or signs to rule. So when you use that sort of classical standard setup, there's a very easy way to get yes and no's with these decks. But the next thing I'm going to explain is also, at the risk of being confusing, I'm going to sort of explain what I think Monty Farber was up to and why I think it's not only confusing, but just I'm not sure I'm in that much of agreement with it, even if I do understand it. So he's got this section called The Secret, which is telling you how to do yes or no readings. So look at the sun. Yes, the outlook is sunny and bright. The moon, go by your feelings, hunches, and intuitions. He's got that as a maybe. And the idea in both of these is he's using the character of the planet to, or the luminary body rather, to help characterize the answer that he gets. So, ooh, look, that nail is so scratched up. I gotta paint that. Sorry about that. Anyway, so the in this case, we've got the sun, yes, the moon, maybe, Mercury, ooh, maybe, go by logic, reason, and the facts. Venus, yes, because it's the great beneficent. You'll see Jupiter, of course, is yes, the sun is yes. All the real gimme benevolence are yes. Mars, ooh, maybe. He didn't really want to say no here. You will have to fight for what you want. Saturn, maybe. But then look at this. When we get to the outer planets, it's no, no, no. North node, yes. That would be Rahu. The south node, or Ketu, no, no, no. So I think this is confusing, and it leaves you to a place where all of the outer planets are no's, and as he's attributed it, the entire season of winter, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces are all no. So basically, you just kind of throw out a whole section of the year. Anyway, to me, this is not a very useful way to do it, and I'm going to suggest another one. If we go back to our good pals, the classical signs, each one of these planets has an element associated with it. Earth, air, fire, or water, which is also pretty classical. And you can think of the air and fire as looking like this, right? The swords or the wands, they are a one or a yes in binary notation. They are a match being struck. They are a yes. They are turning something on. And things that look like this, the coins, the cups, even though it looks like I'm making them a big zero and that's a big neg, that's true. You use them as no. They're receptive. They're yin. So this is projecting, and it's yang, and it's air and fire. It's swords and wands. This is receptive, steady state. So things which are stable and non-dynamic. They're not moving yet, or they're stabilizing, would be characterized by the circles of the coins, of the cups, of bodies of water. So we've got your classic yoni and lingam. So when you think of it that way, we get an easy way to start dealing with this, because air and fire are going to be yes, projecting yang energy, yes. And they're going to be characterized by a 1, which is very handy because it ties in with the Magician card number 1. And the yin energy is going to be characterized by the 0, which we can think of as the 0 or the 2 being the high priestess energy. So we end up with this idea that steady energy potential is feminine yin energy, and that projecting, sparking energy is yang or male energy. And so if you have any of those sorts of ideas in your mind, and any of those sorts of ways of thinking work for you, then this is going to be super easy because we can look at each of those attributions of element and number and find that the odd numbers will all associate with projecting energy of air and fire, and the even numbered houses will all associate with receptive yin energy, which will be water and earth. And so if you assign, because we need a binary for yes and no, and we decide ones or odd numbers are going to be yeses, things like air and fire will be yeses, and we're going to make earth and water serve as no's, and even numbers serve as no's. Then we can flip any card and we know what it is. Another way to think of it as is, because there's nothing negative in terms of being an inferior energy about receptive or yin energy, even though we're going to have it serve as a no. But if you were thinking of protective energy, or energy that is good at looking at the past and understanding the past, that would be the yin energy, an energy that is projecting hypothetically forward, charging forward, that would be the yang energy. And they're both necessary, like the inhale and the exhale of breath. So anyway, we're going to look through these and you'll see how it totally works out, because Mars, as it happens, is fire. That's a 1. That's a yes. 2, which is Venus, I wrote this in, is Taurus, ruled by Venus. Taurus is an earth sign. It's number 2. That makes it a no. 3, Mercury is an air planet. Gemini is an air sign. It's 3. It's odd, so it's no. I'm sorry, so it's a yes. Excuse me. Odds are yeses, evens are nos. 4 is the moon. It is obviously feminine. It is obviously water, and it's an even number. It's no. 5, odd. So it's going to be yes. Can the sun be anything but yes? If the sun and moon are together, rather than the way Monty Farber has it, where here's a yes and here's a maybe, isn't it a little cleaner to say this is the yes and this is the no? We're going to establish a binary setup for yes-no answers. So house number 6, Earth, Virgo, ruled by Mercury. But this is an earth sign and an even number. So it's a, it's a no. Bleh. Okay, so it's an even number. It's an earth sign because it's Virgo. It's a no. 7, which is odd, so it's going to be a yes, is Libra, the air sign. Does that make sense? Each, to be clear, each planet rules 2 signs. So Mercury, which is an air planet, rules 1 air sign, and it also rules 1 earth sign. Does that make sense? So Venus, which is a water sign, actually rules an earth sign and an air sign. So you go with the classic elementary attributions of the planets, you go with the elementary attributions of the signs, and you just go with the odd or even number of the houses. Anyway, I'm risking that getting more confusing than less confusing, so let me just flip through some cards and show you how it works. Okay, so I've got a stack of karma cards here. So all I'm looking at is odd or even and the elementary attributions of what I'm looking at. That's it. Okay, so here's houses. This says the 10th house. That's even. That's going to be a no. You can see in the background, it's an earth sign. It's Capricorn. It's a no. Here's in the 2nd house, an earth sign, Taurus. It's going to be a no. Earth and water are no. Air and fire are yes. In the 5th house, this is classically Leo. It's sun, it's fire. It's going to be a yes. This one, Mercury, which is air, so it's projecting energy. It's going to be a yes. Uranus is typically thought of as fire. Oops, sorry about that. This is a yes. 1st house, number 1, odd number. It's yes. Scorpio, water, 8th house, even number. That's a no. Mars, fire, right? Projecting yang energy. That's going to be yes. 6th house, even number, Earth, Virgo, going to be a no. Jupiter, fire, going to be a yes. Sagittarius, fire, going to be a yes. Planets, Saturn, Earth attribution, going to be a no. People all think of Saturn as a no. They think of it as the big no. 4th house, Cancer, water, no. Even number. So 11th house, odd number, air, that's a yes. Aquarius, futuristic, yes. Virgo, Earth, 6th house, even number, no. The south node, oh, I forgot to mention this. So if you have to pick a binary, just like the sun is yes and the moon is no, then you'll do the same thing with the nodes of the moon. The north node, the direction you're heading towards, typically it's seen as the future direction, will be yes. And the south node, which is seen as the past, will be no. So the south node is no. The sun, big yes. Neptune, water, no. You can get real fast with it, right? Pisces, water, no. 9th house, odd number, yes. That's Sagittarius, fire. Capricorn, earth, no. Taurus, earth, no. But this would also be, of course, the second house. Oops, the second house and the 10th house, so even numbered, so no. So it all kind of fits together. It's Cancer, water, 4th house, no. Pluto, which would be another earth sign, so no. If it has any rulership, it's rulership of the 8th house, which is even numbered, which again is going to be a no, so it kind of makes sense. In Aquarius, air sign, 11th house, odd number, yes. In the 8th house, well, we just talked about this. Scorpio, water, no. In the 3rd house, odd number, air, yes. In Libra, and basically all I have to call out is the element. Air, yes. In Aries, fire, yes. The north node, because it's the north node, yes, not the south node. So this is, in the binary, this is the yang, and that's the yin. 12th house, no. That's Pisces, water, no. Gemini, air, yes. It's also an odd number, the 3rd house. Leo, sun, yes. 5th house, it's an odd number. 7th house, odd number, has to be yes. And of course, we know that the 7th house is Libra, an air, which is represented by swords. It's a yes. Venus, planet of water. Water is no. Moon of water. So that's no. So that's all the cards. So I know it was a little time consuming, but I sort of hoped you would see that as you're going through this. And now I've got them all sort of, I better just mix them all up here. I'm just going to quickly do a couple little speedy yes or no questions so that you can see how it works. So you have a couple different ways to do this, which I will describe while I'm shuffling. You can decide to just flip one card and get a yes, no, and then you can choose the characteristics of the planet, house, or sign represented on that card to tell you a little bit more about your yes or no answer. So that's one simple way to do it. So I will ask a quick question. Someone is coming over for dinner. Oops, let me cut the cards just because I usually do. Someone is coming over for dinner. Are all of the dishes going to be arranged to come out at the same time? North node, yes. Oh, that's nice. And this says there will be success from benefit. So the idea is this is a pretty good sign. But maybe I'll ask another question. Will I get the package I'm expecting tomorrow? In the 10th house, no. And because it's Capricorn, right, or the 10th house that has to do with responsibility and success, maybe I won't get it because somebody didn't fulfill their responsibility. So I was supposed to get it, but I didn't. And because the 10th house often has to do with large organizations, maybe the large organization handling my package is not doing such a great job in this instance. So that's how you can use a simple yes/no question and then use the nature of the card you draw to tell you more about it. But another quick and dirty way to do it, because it's nice to be able to do quick and dirty questions. I mean, I call them quick and dirty, but I think they're super valuable. And one of the things that I think is tremendously valuable about them is you learn a lot about your decks. If through the course of a day you keep a deck that you're warming up or you're just getting acquainted with you, and you ask it lots of yes or no questions. Will my favorite chicken sandwich be in stock at the cafeteria? Should I shower first or walk the dog first? You know, whatever it is, just go through those yes or no questions, see what you get, and they will teach you a lot about the personality of the deck, whether it's humorous. Some of them, I find, at least as I read them, have a very funny sense of humor. Some of them are straight to the point, straight down to business. Some of my decks are drama queens. They almost only speak in major arcana. They only speak in all caps. That's just how they do. And some of them are kind of more subtle or more interested in personal details. Some of them I find are very good for practical readings. So you learn the character by doing a lot of readings. And one way to do a lot of readings quickly with a deck is to do a lot of yes-no readings. So let me go through another real quick and dirty way. Instead of just saying yes, no, and that's the end of it, if you want to get a little bit more gradation, you could do a 3-card where you're looking for a strong yes or a very strong no, medium yes, medium no. Okay, so here we have the second house, Uranus. So this is interesting because Uranus as a fire planet would be a yes. Second house being an even number in Earth would be no. So here I have a tiebreaker. In Aquarius, which is air, which is yes. Now what's interesting about this is, so this isn't a real strong yes because I do have one no card here and 2 yes cards. But what's interesting is Uranus rules Aquarius. So it might give me the idea that if I have a yes to answer to this question, it will have something to do with sudden insights or groups of people and organizations, something that Uranus and Aquarius rule. Maybe something to do with technology or with future planning, something like that. And possibly because the second house can be possessions and personal possessions and personal property. So if I say yes, this might require me to do some forward looking and not to be so worried about how it will affect my bottom line today. So this might be sort of futurism of Aquarius versus the stubbornness of Taurus, you could say, or putting material issues on the back burner in order to move forward with people on something else. I mean, I think if you do astrology, which you probably have done if you're getting into this card, like just on a basic level, all this should make good sense to you. So I'll do one more little 3-card question just to see if we can get one. So that gives you not a strong yes, but you get a good yes, and it sort of gives you an idea with the 3 cards, maybe the direction you need to go to get more toward the yes part of that question. Now, sometimes, actually, this would be a good one. I'm going to ask a question where I really want the answer to be no, because sometimes people don't do that. They assume yes is always the answer you want, and sometimes no is the answer you want. So here's a question. Is that person who wants to ask me for help with that big project, are they going to hit me up for that this week? Am I going to need to come through and help that person with a big project this week? Now, I'm hoping for the answer no, but we'll see what happens, right? So, Taurus, earth sign? The answer is no. And this would indicate maybe things staying the way they are. Cancer, water. So this is no. So this is interesting because I've already got no, because I've got earth and water. They're both saying no. And Taurus, furthermore, is kind of stubborn, and Cancer can be kind of crabby, so to speak. So these are no's, but let's see if I get a super duper no. Pluto, earth sign. Hell no. Not only no, but hell no. So it also looks, because we've got Pluto here, which has to do with power, and this is sort of standing your ground, it could be that there are questions about whether or not this person who wants to drag me into their project really has the authority to do it. Maybe this is about me setting better boundaries and saying, I'm not going to do it this week. Maybe I'm not going to do it at all. Maybe I need to stand my ground. Maybe I need to think about what I'm allowing, or think about my responsibilities, questions like that. But either way, I got a very strong no. I'm not going to get a request to do it this week, but it may be actually such a no that it actually leads me to think forward. And then what about after this week? What do I really think about this project going forward if I have such dread that I'm hoping for the no? Like, please don't let someone ask me to do this. And I'm so full of dread, maybe these cards point to a need to reevaluate my position on it. Does that make sense? I mean, I'm assuming it does. You guys are all so sharp. Anyway, I know this is a long video, but this is for the card geeks out there. Anytime you are using an astrologically based system, if you use the elemental attributions of the houses as earth, air, water, or fire in a classical 4-element scheme, and if you use odds and even numbers for the houses, odds being yes because they attribute to air and fire, evens being no because they attribute to earth and water, you can kind of yes, no your way through anything that you feel like. So anyway, I hope, John, most of all, that answers your question, that it gives you some options going forward. And I think you'll find, or at least I hope you will, that if you try this setup, it provides a very nice, coherent, and consistent way to deal with all the cards so that you don't find yourself in these weird exceptions. Because I think these maybes in Monty Farmer's book, The Secret, really kind of have to do more with the character of the planet. I mean, Saturn really, and I love Saturn to be honest, but Saturn really ought to be a no. You ought to have some no's in the inner planets and some yeses in the outer planets, just to be, to be even. So anyway, that's what I have on this super duper card geek video. Mercury is going to go retrograde. It's going to do that right after the new moon. So I'm not sure if I'll be combining the Mercury retrograde. I probably won't combine it completely with the new moon video, but anyway, I'll get on that. And the March readings are up. I will try to remember to put them at the end of this video. There are 7 divinatory methods for the month, and you can pick and choose between any one you want. Also, I have a lot of people watching the teacup readings, which is so great, and I'm so happy for that. But I do have to admit the March one is like so shaky as I'm holding the phone and twisting the cup. It's going to give you motion sickness. Maybe just turn your screen away from you and listen to it. And I will definitely find a better way to do it so it's not so like nausea inducing. Anyway, thanks for everybody who's recently subscribed. Thank you very much to all you longtime subscribers and viewers, and anyone who bothers to watch the video or give it a thumbs up or leave a comment. Thanks so much. And until next time, rock on with your bad selves.